Hi, and welcome to The Secret Life of Parkinson's. I'm your host, Jessica Krauser, and I'm with my co-host, Brian Baker.
Namaste.
Oh, and why did we say that today?
Because we have a special guest. Again, another special
guest. We love our special guests. So today we have Naomi Hoyt. She is joining us today to talk about yoga. But Naomi is a personal trainer, and she specializes in training
older adults
over a certain age.
50.
Okay, 50 and over. So personal trainer, yoga instructor, and she comes to our gym at PD Next Steps with Melissa. And so that's where we were able to get to meet Naomi and go through some exercises. So I'm really excited because we talked about this initially. So our topic being yoga. Do you do yoga?
I do not do yoga.
Okay, I think you're going to have a lot of questions, which will be really good. But to talk about the different myths behind yoga, I think the first thing Brian said when you walked in is yoga just for women? And is yoga just for those who are flexible? So we're going to talk about those. But before we dive in, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background.
So I started training in 2012 as a personal trainer. And in, I think about 2017, I took the Delay the Disease certification to work with people with Parkinson's. And then fate kind of brought me together with Melissa. We have a mutual friend who's a trainer. And we were in the gym at the same time, and he introduced us. And so then I started helping her out at the gym some, and eventually became certified to teach yoga and started teaching a 30-minute class for the clients at PD Next Steps.
How long have you been doing that then? 2017?
I've been working with Melissa since just when she opened the gym on Taller Road, and I'm teaching yoga for about 2 years there.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's just take a step back, and for people like Brian who might not know more about yoga, what is yoga? How would you define it?
So yoga is a very ancient practice, over 5,000 years old, and it combines breathing and movement. It works to bring our mind, our body, and our spirit together. And it's very simple. It's not complicated at all. And sometimes it's just breathing. It doesn't necessarily have to involve moving your body. It can be simply sitting and breathing.
So anyone can do yoga?
I guess so. That's what I'm hearing.
I think it's a good idea.
Yes.
What about, so people with Parkinson's, how does it benefit us? Does it benefit us in a different way, or it's just better for us?
It does. Let's talk a little bit about how it benefits the general population. Stress relief, improved flexibility, it improves your mood. It can have benefits for your heart health. So those are all, great benefits that everybody wants. And those same benefits, of course, apply to people with Parkinson's, but there's some very specific ways that yoga can help people with Parkinson's. So the first thing is that it helps us become more aware of our bodies and where our bodies are in space. So just that general awareness is very helpful to people with Parkinson's, and the way that you're moving through the world and be mindful of our bodies and what we're doing with our bodies. So that's the first one. Mobility. So there have been tons of studies that explore the benefits of yoga on people with Parkinson's, and mobility is a big one. So we know that people with Parkinson's become rigid. That's a symptom. And so that can be improved with moving, stretching, improving flexibility with yoga. They've also shown that yoga can help improve gait. Both initiation of gait, so when we start walking, and the freezing that sometimes is experienced, and also speed of gait. So those are big things.
Like, what is an example of something you would do to help with freezing of gait?
Right. So in yoga, if you're standing in a certain pose, or an asana is what we call a pose, using your breath to help initiate that movement. And I have found that people who have trouble moving into a pose, as soon as you add the breath to that, it helps initiate that pose. And the connection between your mind and body can be so strong that if you are experiencing, for instance, freezing, if you're able to connect your breath, take a deep breath, maybe take one step back and then exhale and start to walk forward. It's as simple as that. So it's really about that connection. Balance, right? Everybody wants to improve balance, whether we have Parkinson's or not. Yoga, we work a lot specifically on balance and strengthening, especially our lower body, which helps postural stability. And then flexibility. So we all have tight muscles. With Parkinson's, I think we all know that becomes more and more exaggerated. So stretching is important. Stretching the right muscles is important. Hamstrings. Brian, do you have tight hamstrings?
I do.
Yeah.
I might be able to get into a downward dog.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So hamstrings, hip flexors, we do a lot of poses that stretch those out. Also our spine. So our spine is meant to both flex and extend. All right. So we work on helping this posture,
which is what we do constantly.
Right, we're all slumped over.
But you're doing it right now. Stand up.
Our spinal flexors become shortened, and so we work to lengthen them. Our spinal extenders that help us stay upright become weak. So we work on strengthening them so that those muscles that help us stay upright are functioning properly in our body. And again, that mindfulness of your body and how you're sitting and how you're breathing is so, so helpful. And then I think one of the most important ones is mood, stress, anxiety. The National Parkinson's research has shown that about half of people with Parkinson's are experiencing some kind of depression, stress, anxiety. Yoga helps what we call our parasympathetic nervous system. That's our rest and digest system. Act more efficiently and has better output, and that improves our mood, and it improves our ability to sleep, and it lessens our anxiety. So there are many different ways that you can do that through yoga. We have found that just by breathing, listening to your body, tuning into how you feel, those have real strong effects on mood, anxiety, sleep patterns.
Maybe it would put you in a better mood.
I'm always in a good mood. I don't know what you're talking about. I am the joy of life.
You are. You're the joy of this podcast too.
I thought I was the eye candy of the podcast.
You're eye candy as well. I forgot about that. So let's talk about the myths, because there's a lot of myths out there about what yoga really is. And if even thinking of my own family members who might consider, or even not myself, because I have done yoga, but it's like, how do we really get people past what these myths are to get them to be mindful of how they can help themselves?
Right. Lots of myths around yoga.
Yeah.
Probably
Let's do top five.
Top five. Okay, top five. You have to be flexible to do yoga.
Myth?
That's a myth. That's
Maybe
a
I
myth.
can
So you don't have to be flexible to do yoga. I think that social media, we see people doing yoga and they're in these crazy twists and pretzel shapes and their leg behind their head. That is yoga, but it's not necessarily the type of yoga that somebody with Parkinson's is going to be doing. So
Or anybody.
That's right.
Shout out to my parents and my in-laws on this one. You do not have to be flexible, but this is how you can gain some flexibility.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's part of
Yes.
the benefit of doing yoga.
So eventually you will be able to put your foot behind your head.
That maybe. I mean, I can't put my foot behind my head, so.
I'm so tempted to try it.
So myth Myth number 2, only younger people can do yoga. That is definitely a myth. All of my yoga students are probably older than 60. So it's very beneficial for older population, and you have to be mindful of the teacher and the class that you're taking. There are lots of different kinds of yoga, right? That's the third myth, is that there's only one kind of yoga. There are many different types of yoga. There's hot yoga that Brian has talked about.
Yes.
What is hot yoga?
Hot yoga is a vinyasa style of yoga, so that's another style of yoga in a heated room.
What does vinyasa mean?
So vinyasa is what you think of as flow in yoga, where you're doing sun salutations. It's a faster pace yoga. It feels almost choreographed.
Okay. So that's not one I would probably want to do.
Right.
If I'm wanting the mindful.
And to get a sweat.
That's right. And there's nothing wrong with vinyasa yoga, and it's great. And if you want to do it in a room that's 100 degrees, go for it. But that's not the type of yoga that I teach. It's not the type of yoga that I have found to be most helpful for people with Parkinson's. So we talked about 4, and the 5th one is that yoga's just for women. It's for everybody.
Derek and I are going to go to yoga.
You're going to be, you should do, can you do a night class?
Absolutely. That'd be fun. We do yoga and beer too.
Oh, yeah.
Yoga and wine.
Yeah, yoga, like every pose you get into, you take it.
That's right. That's right. Goat yoga. So, it's not just for women. It's for everybody. And for everybody, I mean all genders and every body type. So you don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to be a certain gender to do yoga.
What about the myth that you have to have yoga pants to go to yoga?
You do not have to have yoga pants to go to yoga. You can wear your shorts that you wear to the gym. You can
maybe wear tight shorts underneath your other shorts.
Yeah, you might want to wear it. Right.
Take a shower so your feet don't smell if you take your shoes off.
You were trying to say I got smelly feet.
No, I was just making a statement.
Now you're giving me a complex.
So with the 5 myths, what have you seen, especially with the PD class that you have right now? I know the people that stay on Wednesdays, they're there religiously.
Right.
How have you seen them change or benefit over time?
Yeah, we do a 30-minute class that follows a 60-minute strength class. And I have taught that strength class as a substitute. I've taken that strength class, so I know that it's very intense. And that strength class is very important for people with Parkinson's. So I don't want to ever say that you shouldn't be doing that. But following that, what we do is 30 minutes of breathing. We start with breathing. We let the heart rate come down, let the body relax, and usually with some type of a guided meditation for about 5 minutes. And then we start moving into different poses, which are stretches. And they're the same stretches that you might do at home. The difference for us is that we're connecting our breath to those. So we're being very mindful about taking slow, even, deep breaths as we're holding an asana, or what you might call a stretch. And then what I see is that people are becoming more flexible. So, maybe when they first started, they could not bring their leg, if they're lying down, up in the air to stretch their hamstrings without bending it. And now that leg can straighten. That means that their hamstrings are lengthening and becoming less tight. And then just generally, as people leave, I find that they are more relaxed. They have a certain mental energy that maybe was zapped during that tough strength class. So it's very rejuvenating. And honestly, it's addictive. You feel so good when you finish. And you asked about, how can we get people to get rid of those myths in their mind? The answer is come to a class. Come to a class for 3 or 4 weeks and take notice of how different your body feels after doing that. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It can be 10 minutes. You can sit in a chair and do yoga for 10 minutes in your living room and get all of the benefits. So it can be what you need for it to be.
That's great.
Maybe we can have Melissa cut the Saturday class down to 30-minute lifting and 30 minutes yoga.
That's not going to happen. I mean, I'll come teach yoga, but she's not going to cut the length of the
No,
class.
it's got to be that. We got to cut the class.
Well, this is great. Honestly, I know it was education for me. When we were just talking about it, and I know it's education.
Ton of education for me.
It is. I mean, it's something that we really need to. We need to figure out how can we incorporate it in our lives. Because again, with the young onset group, the reason why I bust out of there usually right after class is because then my summer, so kids are home. I got to get back to them, and it's like, but I'd love to spend 30 minutes just to myself of the mindfulness in the body. So maybe we can figure out what we need to do.
It's a great thing to do on the days that you're using as active recovery.
Yeah.
So if you're working out 6 days a week, which I think both of you are working out probably that much, then on that 7th day, can you spend 30 minutes doing
It's supposed to be the
yoga.
day of rest anyways on Sundays. We should do it.
That's right. So, finding those ways to do it. And like I said, it doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It can be 10 minutes, before the kids get up or after the kids go to bed or there's some very simple things that you can do that will really help you.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you so much for coming
thank you
on.
for
I really
having me.
appreciate it. I know
Amazing.
we'll probably have more questions and things that hopefully you can answer for us. But in our last 30 seconds, I'd like you to not forget this. Just like we're afraid of the word Parkinson's, don't be afraid of the word yoga. Take time to become more familiar with your body and its capabilities. As we learned in this episode, anyone can do yoga, even if it's in a seated position. So get it out of your head that it's just for young, flexible women. Take a 10-minute break out of your day for breathing meditation and to make some mindful movements. Your body will thank you. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.